I have in my life now about 6 really close friends, and I just call it pruning my tree. I don't want to waste time. I'm going to be on this planet 20, 30 more years. I want to spend the time with the people I love, I care about, and I think care about me. This is where I think KD made a massive mistake. He traded in Steve Kerr for Steve Nash. He traded in Steph Curry for Kyrie Irving. Those are massive downgrades. Like, he chose the wrong guys to ride with. And this is what you get. The Warriors arguably have A++ at owner, GM, head coach, and star. And because he's non-confrontational and couldn't handle a spat with Draymond Green, he goes to the second most popular franchise in New York, a brand new coach, and Kyrie Irving. And it's not like Kyrie's issues were not disclosed. I mean, it wasn't like you buy a house and the inspector misses the leaky roof. We all know Kyrie's baggage. So this is a great example of, who you go to Vegas with on the weekends. Like, it matters who you travel with abroad, who you choose to be in relationships with. KD's a great player. He made really awful, regrettable choices on who to ride with. And now his career, let's be honest, he didn't look nearly as effective as Jason Tatum. What is he now? What is he? He is completely lost. It dings his legacy. 3 years in Brooklyn, 2 first-round exits, a second-round exit, and they're trapped as a franchise because they can't give Kyrie a long-term contract. That's just not a reasonable conclusion. So the Memphis-Minnesota series, listen, Memphis is better, but something needs to be said. Their coach, Taylor Jenkins, ripped the officials, got a big fine, will get a big fine. He really called them out as aggressively as I've ever seen a coach call them out. Listen, because of Tim Donaghy, an outlier, a rebel, who was caught not changing the outcomes of games. He acknowledges that he called fouls. He tried to get the over to bettors. Donaghy will tell you he didn't try to change outcomes. He called early fouls, get teams into the bonus, more free throws, they shoot more at the line, and they hit the over. Because of that now, anytime a series is poorly officiated, it's rigged. Folks, there's a big difference between rigged and crappy officials. The NBA's got, I think it's 70 full-time officials. Well, if an airline had 70 full-time pilots, do you think 70 are Sully Sullenberger landing on the Hudson? No, you're going to have about 6 great ones, 20 strong ones, 20 mediocre ones, and 30 you wish were better. Think about how often it happens that you go to a doctor or you have a surgery and you're not satisfied with the results. Folks, not every doctor went to Harvard. Not everybody's an A++ med student. In my adult life, and we'll say that's 35 to mid-50s, 20 years, I've gone to the hospital 4 times, maybe 5, 6. I've had great doctors. I've had pretty solid doctors, and I had one bad experience. There are bad officials in the NBA. There are bad pilots and bad surgeons. We have hospitals that have amputated the wrong leg. My wife had a surgery about 6, 7 years ago on her wrist. It was futile. It was poorly done. She needs another. So, fans love to gravitate because psychologically, it's much easier for a fan. They can't blame their players because you can't just change your roster. They don't like to blame their coach, especially if it's a new coach with a new contract. So it's easier to blame the officials. Yes, there's bad officials. And yes, Tim Donaghy did exist. This isn't rigged, okay? Believe it or not, the NBA has a group of people who monitor every call. That's what they do. And if Vegas thought, or FanDuel thought, games were being thrown, you do realize they would notify the league. That's how the league found out about Tim Donaghy. Vegas said, we're seeing something happen with Tim Donaghy games, and it's wildly suspicious. So yes, the officials can be awful. Think about college basketball. There's 360 Division I programs. On a Saturday night, 275 are playing. You need like 900 officials. 400 are awful. So a buddy of mine, comedian Jeff Cesario from Milwaukee, said, Colin, the Bucks offense is almost better without Khris Middleton, who's injured for about a month. How is it possible? Well, Dallas without Luka, Suns without Chris Paul, Grizzlies without Ja Morant, and now the Bucks without Middleton. You notice the ball movement gets better? Why? Because players don't sit around staring at the star. Now, in the Warriors' case, it's different because Steph Curry moves more rapidly and more often than any star player in the league. So the Warriors' ball movement and spacing gets worse when Curry gets hurt. That's the exception. In most instances, a Ja Morant, players sit around, he's got the ball, they become spectators. Dallas Mavericks with Luka, they become spectators. So when you see a team like Milwaukee and there's better ball movement without Khris Middleton, this is commonplace. Now, eventually, you want all your shot makers to beat the Celtics or the Sixers, and they'll need them. But this is fairly common. The ball-centric player leaves, everybody elevates and succeed for a short period of time. Warriors are the exception because in all my years watching the NBA, I've never seen a player move without the ball, a star player, quite like Steph Curry.